Let me tell you about Dr. Maya Chen, 41 years old, cardiothoracic surgeon at Riverside Medical Center, a hospital in Atlanta that has spent 3 years and $14 million building its most ambitious project, the Riverside Advanced Cardiac Surgery Program, robotic-assisted procedures, minimally invasive techniques. The kind of work that put a hospital on the map, attracted top residents, and justified premium billing. Maya was the reason it existed. She designed the program, trained the supporting surgical team, completed the 18-month certification process minus 200 supervised procedures, 3 external board reviews, and a credentialing examination with a 34% first attempt pass rate. She was the only surgeon at Riverside who held that certification. Without her, the program was a $14 million infrastructure with no one qualified to run it. And on a Thursday morning in November, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Gerald Pratt, a man who had not performed surgery in 11 years, terminated Maya's contract for conduct unbecoming a medical professional. The conduct in question, Maya, had filed a formal complaint with the Joint Commission, the national body that accredits hospitals, citing 17 documented instances of cost-cutting measures she believed were compromising patient safety. She had raised those concerns internally first, 3 times, in writing, with documentation. Nobody acted. So she filed externally. And Riverside, rather than addressing the safety concerns, addressed Maya. What Gerald did not know, what the hospital's legal team had not checked, was that Maya's certification was not transferable. It required 18 months of training and board approval. Without it, the advanced cardiac surgery program could not legally operate. Not one procedure, not one patient. Not $1 of the $8.3 million in annual revenue the program generated. The morning Maya received her termination letter, she did 2 things. She called her attorney, and she called the Joint Commission back. This is the story of how one hospital tried to silence a whistleblower and accidentally turned off the machine that kept them running. Buckle up, because this one is about what happens when the person you fire is also the person holding the scalpel. It started 18 months before the termination. Maya noticed the changes gradually, the way you notice a slow leak. Not dramatic, not sudden. Just a persistent drip that, left unaddressed, eventually floods the floor. First, supply substitutions. Approved cardiac sutures replaced with a cheaper alternative not cleared for her specific procedures. She flagged it. Was told the products were equivalent. She documented the conversation. Then, staffing ratios in the cardiac ICU reduced overnight below the level she considered safe. She raised it in a department meeting. Was told the data didn't support her concern. She documented that too. Then came the maintenance logs. The robotic surgical system had flagged 3 internal calibration warnings over 6 months. Protocol required a full inspection after the second warning. The inspection had not been scheduled. Maya pulled the maintenance records herself, sent an email to the facilities director, copied the CMO, and requested an immediate inspection. 3 weeks passed. No inspection? She sent a 3rd email to Gerald directly, with the maintenance log attached and 1 line at the bottom. If a calibration failure occurs during a procedure, I will have no choice but to report this externally. Gerald replied in 4 words. Noted. Thank you. Maya, the inspection was scheduled, then quietly pushed back 6 weeks. Maya filed with the Joint Commission the following Monday. 14 months of documentation, organized, time-stamped, cross-referenced, because Maya had not become one of the best cardiothoracic surgeons in the Southeast by being careless with evidence. Now, if you believe that the truth, when documented carefully enough, always finds its way into the right hands, subscribe to Tangled Stories. I'm Brett. Around here the careful ones always win. The Joint Commission acknowledged her complaint within 72 hours. Mia told no one at Riverside, went to work, attended meetings, answered Gerald's emails with the same professional warmth she had always used, and waited. 6 weeks later, a Joint Commission surveyor arrived unannounced. Gerald found out 40 minutes after the surveyor walked through the front door. Maya found out from a scrub nurse who whispered in the hallway, "There's a Joint Commission person in the building." "I know," Maya said, and kept walking. The 2-day review requested maintenance records, staffing logs, supply chain documentation, and incident reports from the cardiac unit, everything Maya had already organized and submitted. The preliminary findings cited 3 areas of concern: equipment maintenance, ICU staffing ratios, and supply substitution documentation. Serious enough to require a corrective action plan within 60 days. Gerald read the findings. And instead of addressing them, he addressed Maya. The termination meeting was Thursday morning. Gerald's office. Legal counsel Sandra Fitch present. HR in the corner. Maya, you filed an external complaint without exhausting internal resolution channels. This constitutes conduct unbecoming a medical professional. I raised these concerns internally 3 times, Maya said. In writing. Over 14 months. Those concerns were being addressed, Gerald said. The robotic system still hasn't had its full service inspection, Maya said. 9 months since the second calibration warning. Gerald's jaw tightened. Your contract is terminated, effective immediately. Sandra slid the termination letter across. Maya read it. Set it down. Has legal reviewed the program certification requirements? She asked. Sandra's expression didn't change. That's an internal matter. My certification for the advanced cardiac surgery program is individual, Maya said. Not attached to the hospital, not transferable. The program cannot legally operate without a credentialed surgeon on staff. Gerald waved a hand. We have other surgeons who are not certified, Maya said calmly. 18 months minimum to credential a replacement. 34% pass rate on the first attempt. Gerald stared. We'll manage the transition, he said. Maya stood. I'm sure you will, she said, and walked out. In the parking lot, Maya made 2 calls. First to her attorney, James Okafor, who specialized in physician employment and whistleblower protection. 14 months of documentation, Maya said. Every internal report, every email, every non-response. James exhaled. Send me everything, today. Her second call was to the Joint Commission, to inform them she had been terminated 6 weeks after filing her complaint and 2 weeks after their surveyor's visit. She submitted a formal retaliation notification. She had written it the night before. Because Maya had not become one of the best cardiothorax surgeons in the Southeast by being unprepared. Inside Riverside, the realization arrived the way expensive mistakes always do, slowly, then all at once. Program coordinator Ellen Park pulled up the certification requirements that afternoon, read them, called the credentialing office, then walked directly to Sandra's office. The program requires individual board certification, Ellen said. Maya held it. No one else does. Minimum 18 months to credential a replacement. Sandra picked up the phone and called Gerald. Find someone. There has to be a workaround. There wasn't. Sandra called the accreditation board to confirm. The accreditation board confirmed. $8.3 million in annual revenue, 0 procedures possible, 18 months minimum. She walked back to Gerald's office, closed the door. Gerald, she said. We have a significant problem. 14 procedures were scheduled in the next 30 days. Everyone cancelled, rescheduled, or transferred to a competing hospital, which would now bill for those procedures and build relationships with those patients. The board was notified on day 3. Board chair Patricia Holt, who had personally championed the $14 million program, called Gerald directly. The call lasted 4 minutes. It was not warm. By day 5, outside legal counsel had reviewed James's whistleblower retaliation filing, the Joint Commission's retaliation notification, and the certification documentation. Their assessment: the termination was legally vulnerable on 3 grounds. Whistleblower retaliation within the statutory protection window. Breach of Maya's employment contract, which required documented cause and a formal performance improvement process before termination. And Riverside's own accreditation was now at risk. The Joint Commission had flagged them for an expedited follow-up review. Sandra forwarded the assessment to Gerald without comment. Gerald read it and sat quietly in the way that means the thinking that should have happened weeks ago is finally happening now. James called Maya on day 7. They want to talk. I assumed they would, Maya said. Reinstatement. Full contract restoration. Back pay. And the safety concerns, Maya asked. Corrective action plan. Accelerated equipment inspection. Staffing ratio review. Supply chain audit. All in writing. Board signed. Filed with the Joint Commission. And Gerald? Maya asked. James paused, transitioning out of the CMO role. End of month. The board made that decision independently. Maya was quiet. I want one more thing, she said. A formal written acknowledgement from the board that my complaint was filed in good faith, was substantiated by the Joint Commission's findings, and that my termination was retaliatory and without merit. James was quiet for a beat. That's a significant ask. It's a factual statement, Maya said. If the facts are uncomfortable, that's not my problem. They agreed. Maya returned on a Monday morning, 3 weeks after her termination. The robotic surgical system received its full service inspection on day 1. The inspection found 2 components requiring immediate replacement. The inspector's report noted that continued use without service would have posed a measurable risk during high-precision procedures. Maya read the report, filed it, and scheduled the first post-reinstatement procedure for the following week. The board's written acknowledgement was factual and clean. Dr. Maya Chen's complaint was filed in good faith following 14 months of documented internal reporting. The complaint was substantiated. Her termination was inconsistent with her contractual rights and applicable whistleblower protection law. Riverside Medical Center regrets the decision and is committed to the corrective measures now underway. Maya kept a copy in her office, not framed, just in a folder, next to the original 14 months of documentation. She didn't need it on the wall, she just needed it to exist. Gerald left at the end of the month. The robotic system was fully serviced within 2 weeks of Maya's return. ICU staffing ratios restored within 30 days. The supply chain audit identified 4 additional undocumented substitutions, all reversed. The Joint Commission's follow-up review took place 6 weeks later. Riverside passed, conditionally, with a 12-month monitoring period. Patricia Holt presented the results to the board and noted, without elaboration, that the situation could have been avoided if internal concerns had been addressed when first raised 14 months ago. In writing, with documentation, Ellen Park was promoted to program director. Her first act, a new internal reporting protocol with mandatory response timelines and escalation requirements. She called it, internally, the Chen protocol. Maya heard about it from a resident 6 months later. She nodded and went back to work. They say Gerald still describes Riverside as a complex leadership environment at networking events. He never mentions the Joint Commission review, never mentions the 9-month maintenance delay, never mentions the forward email. And every year, when the advanced cardiac surgery program's results are presented to the board, Patricia Holt includes one line at the end, no footnote, no elaboration. Program integrity maintained, safety concerns reported and resolved. Maya sits in those meetings. She doesn't say anything. The numbers say it for her. And that, my friends, is how one hospital tried to silence the surgeon who kept their program alive and learned at significant cost that you cannot fire the certification along with the person who holds it. Because some people are replaceable. And some people build the thing you're standing on. Maya knew which one she was. Gerald found out 3 weeks too late. If this story hit you hard, subscribe to Tangled Stories, drop a like, and share this with every healthcare professional who has ever been told that raising safety concerns is unbecoming. Because here, every story has a twist. And sometimes that twist is the only surgeon certified to perform the procedure. I'm Brett, and I'll see you in the next one.